I'm your humble community servant, Chris. Today I'm here with Steven, everyone's favorite.
Art Director for Kingdom Games. Hey community, thanks for joining us.
And this week, we're going to switch it up a bit. We've played 5, we've gone through the back end of 5, that's always been fun, but I thought, let's go and see what people have worked on before. What came before 5? What else brought everyone together here? And you worked at a studio I was a pretty big fan of, from Quantum Conundrum, Murder Soul Suspect, and you talked about Dark Void, which is actually the one I did play. And of course, that means we're talking about Airtight Games. Microsoft studio?
No, but it was founded by a bunch of ex-Microsoft.
Yep.
And actually, I'll share a little bit of the history. So, after we had shipped Crimson Skies, and when I say we, a core team of people from Microsoft, we split into 2 teams at the FASA studio. And one of those teams started developing Crimson Skies 3, and I was on the team developing Shadowrun. At a certain point in the process, Crimson Skies 3 project got cut. So the people on that team created their own studio, Airtight Games, with the help of Ed Fries, Jim Deal, Matt Bruner, and Jared Naltorf. Jared, I hope I got your name right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they spun up a project that was, the inspiration came from Crimson Skies, and I think early on they were calling it Sky Raiders. And by the time I joined the team in January of 2007, so 9 years ago, the game was called Tales from the Black Cloud. And it was a very stylized adventure game, open world, set pre-World War II in the Mediterranean and North Africa. So if you can imagine a Pixar movie with a Indiana Jones type hero who got around by using a grappling hook. It's a big inspiration there from Just Cause.
Yeah.
And once we were picked up by Capcom, that project evolved into what our working title was called, The Watchers, and we wanted to call the game The Watchers. However, you couldn't trademark that, and so we ended up with Void, which we thought was too negative, so we went with Dark Void. And that's how the name came about.
It's a slight double negative. Dark Void.
I
would think that's even darker than just a void. It's a dark void.
Well, Void's just void.
Yeah.
I actually think there's another game out there now called Void.
Yes, I think so.
But over the 3 years of the project that I was involved, I probably contributed about 2.5. I started as environment art lead when we were a small team, and that evolved into the concept pre-production art lead. And a lot of the processes that I implement now, I developed while working on Dark Void.
This is your origin story. This is Steven's
to
Batman.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It was a very challenging project to work on, and it shipped because of the tenacity of the team. Everyone who contributed to that project was relentless. We put in a long hours, and the project evolved, as I said, over 6 months quite a bit, and then over the next year. And because we were the first title for this new group of Capcom USA people, we were putting together presentation videos every other month or every third month.
Wow.
At least 4 to 6 times a year we were doing a demo. And
that's a lot of work to be doing recurring. I mean, every other month to prepare a demo is...
Yes.
That's a month's worth of work just
yes.
in polish, right? I mean...
And unfortunately, we had so much excitement and so many cool things going into the demo that by the time it came to make the game, we had to spread that out over a 6-8 hour experience. And there were a lot of issues, and we just essentially we ran out of time and ran out of money, and Dark Void released as a mediocre title with moments of brilliance in it. There are some really cool things about the game.
Yeah, I know. You actually told me to watch the Zero Punctuation video, so I watched that, and I think you had said there's a lot of information there that's like, it's surprising that someone can be outside of it but see
Yes.
the picture just by seeing the product.
Yes, no doubt. Yahtzee nailed it. So I'm trying to think of where do we want to go with this? I mean,
Well, I would
play
like
some Dark Void.
Yeah, let's see you hop in the game. I have some questions. I actually haven't ever beaten Dark Void. Actually, the first time I played it was a week ago. My big title was Quantum Conundrum, and then we've talked extensively about Murdered Soul Suspect, so
Yes.
I have a feeling at some point I'll bring you back for Murdered. But let's start with Dark Void.
Right.
So
Dark Void is a teen-rated game.
Yes.
Created by Airtight Games out of Seattle. Launched in January of 2010.
Yeah.
And I've played a little bit of the game to get us to a point where we actually have a jetpack.
Yes.
So to give you some of the backstory, you play as William Gray. He is a cargo pilot, late 30s, and he's taking a shipment from Nassau, Bahamas, heading east to North Africa, and flying over the Bermuda Triangle. He ends up in what he thinks is South America, but unbeknown to him, he is actually in the void, a place between worlds that's got this, we'll see if we can see it, it's got this milky ambience, kind of this ether throughout the environment. This is just a river, not the ether. But, heck, I'll just play.
And this is post-World War II.
It's actually pre-World War II, but we use World War II aircraft in here. And one of the things with this jungle environment that
What do you think happened?
Got me.
we ran into is we were actually planning on putting a U-boat on the waterfall. And when we were in the process of building that U-boat, one of our production artists, Kevin, the trailer for Uncharted came out. And the original Uncharted has you exploring a U-boat on a waterfall in a jungle. So we had to cut that and ended up using a container ship that was lost in the Bermuda Triangle in 1908, the Cyclops. I'm trying to remember what I'm doing here. Okay.
And this is Unreal 3.
Yes, it is.
And you can see, like, and you could really see before, like, the lighting and the lens flare, like, a lot of, like, really cool stuff that was new for that engine, right? I mean, like, these types of lighting, like, this didn't exist before.
Right. Now, those mountains there are low poly mountains, but the ones behind are actually matte paintings that I did.
Oh, so that's just 2D?
Correct.
So it's
And
3D then 2D.
The 2D ones actually have animated waterfalls on them. Come on, jump up the rock.
So, when you were working at Airtight and you're putting a project like this together, Airtight partnered with huge publishers, a lot of publishers based in Asia.
Correct.
Now, what sort of expectations did that change? Was it like, hey, here's a bunch of money, make a game? How does a publisher deal like that come together and work out?
Yeah, another traveler.
I'm not sure why I'm just hanging there.
Hanging out.
I guess so. Let's see where we're going. It has been years since I've played this.
I got company.
Copy that.
Oh, wrong side.
Cover-based shooting, yeah.
Yes.
So what's it like working as a publisher with a studio that gets these big contracts? Like,
Well, so this project was interesting in that we were approached by Capcom USA. And Capcom USA at that time had, whoa, ah. I don't know if you remember. Capcom USA at that time had been staffing up. So they had a senior fellow, and about every month they would be showing up with someone new. And everyone had an idea about what they wanted to make for a game. So we would be adjusting and incorporating those ideas. And then we had the honor of Inafune-san coming out and visiting the studio. And when Inafune-san saw the game, he brought up a lot of points that we had originally put in the development of it. One of them was the enemy type here. Capcom USA really wanted these skinny-looking robots, almost feminine in nature, and when you're playing a shooter and you're shooting a robot, you're taking down a machine.
Right.
Whereas when you're playing a shooter and you're actually shooting an individual, there's more of an emotional connection there. It's dangerous and you're taking a life, and there's something to that.
Right.
So we actually, when you get a special kill on one of the robots, you'll see this little slug pop out, and then you have to smash the slug. And that's one of the earlier Watchers. Let's see where we're going here.
And what is a Watcher?
A Watcher. So the story was inspired by early, I want to say, some early writings or thoughts that we were actually created by aliens, the Anunnaki, as a slave race. And they are also known as the Watchers. So Jeff Howell, our writer, had written a story that was inspired by that. So the Anunnaki created human beings as a slave race. Humans rose up against them, overthrew them, and tried to send them back to their world. But they got stuck halfway in this place called the Void. And with that, occasionally when ships go missing in the Bermuda Triangle, or I think the Devil's Triangle off the coast of Japan, the thought was that everyone ends up in this place called the Void.
And the Void is this war, is the last remaining war zone between the humans and the aliens.
Correct. And Nikola Tesla disappeared for 2 weeks in the war. And so, those guys are tough. Oh.
Pro.
Really
That's
tough.
That's how pros play.
Is it?
Yeah.
So don't you want to have the game big and the picture of you and I small?
No, everyone wants to see you.
What?
The game is awesome, but it's been shown. Like, the idea here is we want to know the story behind the game.
Okay.
We want to give you the power.
Me the power.
Yeah, they can pick it up on Steam if they want. Dark Void's on Steam.
I would actually recommend not picking it up on Steam because it crashes on every cinematic.
Yep.
Capcom does not do a good job of its conversions to PC titles. If you're a Capcom fan, you know that. So I would recommend, if you've got a 360, picking it up on 360.
Yeah, it's using Secure ROM, which is there's been a lot of noted issues with the of course, Amber says hi. So
Hi, Amber Rain. Welcome.
And Amber, if you have any questions, please chime in. You always have really good insight from an artist's perspective. So please feel free to ask any questions you have. Now, when it comes to terrain, what did Unreal 3 ship with? I mean, did it come to you with all this terrain's there? Is this all hand painted?
Oh no, we made all this. We concepted it and built it. These shaders and a lot of these rocks and trees were created by Eric Berger, who's now at Luxia in Seattle. He's an environment art lead. Eric is a master of Unreal. So these are multi-pass shaders. These particular ones don't use the top-down or triplanar shader that more people are familiar with now, but later on we'll show some of that.
Yeah, I think you have to consider that this game is a Oh, not quite. It's 5-6 years old, but development
No, it
is
is.
7-8 years old.
Oh yeah.
And it's still pretty impressive when you look at the texture quality there. It's pretty high. The modeling is pretty solid in the level layouts. You know, it's pretty impressive, especially the character modeling. I think is would seem to be a big focus.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
with the 360, it was always more character focused than world focused. Would you agree with that? Or?
Let me get into the light here. So our lead character artist, John Hermanowski, actually just shipped Just Cause 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he has actually come back to Seattle, or gone back to Seattle, to work at Workshop also. And, oh no! Get my butt handed to me. Maybe we should play on easy.
Probably. But you're supposed to be good at the games when you make them. You're supposed
Yeah,
to
I
know all the
haven't
tricks.
played in literally 6-7 years. Oh my gosh, we gotta do this again.
Yeah. But yeah, character models in this are, I mean, like this character model would pretty much stand up to most models today. If not,
I would say yes. And John actually redid this main character, I want to say 5 different times. I am going to set the difficulty to casual. Oop, wrong way.
there you go.
Yeah, this banging UI is courtesy of Chris Madden. Like the love child of John Mike.
No, I like the UI. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And this is something that you brought up to me a lot that you've developed, and I was wondering if this had an influence on things like Murder. This is a pretty simple HUD. It's pretty minimalistic. It's big character. It takes up a lot of the screen.
I'm not a fan of HUD, and I fought against the size of this. I personally would prefer a smaller HUD, but I think this works pretty well.
Yeah, I like it. It's clean. It's not in the way. Your whole bottom screen is great, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate that space. But I mean, I want to be able to look at the ground, and just even little bits of UI obscure that. Just, wow, like that's really high res. In those textures, that moss is just—it's really impressive.
So the environments at this point, especially this area of the map, were all put together and created by Brad Schubert and his team. Brad Schubert is at Microsoft and the art director on Project Spark.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. Brad is a very talented artist.
So, is that also common for the game industry to have like this dream team together and then they go off and go their separate ways? And
I
just...
don't think we knew we were a dream team, or maybe we did, but there were a lot of challenges in this project. So over the course of the project, it was like I left probably about 6 months beforehand to art direct for Murdered Soul Suspect. And so at that point, I want to say Brad took over. Forgive me, guys, if I'm not remembering this right. It was a while ago.
And when you say left, I mean, how large was Airtight?
It was probably about 60 people.
What's this?
So is a project like 20 people, or?
Uh-oh, I'm gonna die. Shouldn't fail. Let's see how the checkpointing is.
It's probably pretty good.
Not that good. Ugh. Sorry, community.
Oh my. So when you look back, do you miss working on this title? Do you miss the team? Is it just kind of like that's
Hang on, I'm stuck.
the battery's dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be nice.
Get me off that thing.
Just having some trouble with it.
Alright.
It's my 360 controller. I'm playing with it too much.
360. It is
Yeah.
a 260 then.
Is it 360 controller? Is there anything you miss about working on this project, or some things that, like,
Well,
hindsight, you're like, oh man, if I could do this and then go back and do this on another project, how this?
I miss the people because those are my closest friends: John, Rob, Brad, Mark, Eric. Yeah, there are a lot of people I was close with are still in Seattle. And that's,
So what brought you to Austin? Just work
Starhawk
at Lightbox.
at Lightbox Interactive. I believe that's a T-rated game. It's a PS3 exclusive. So
I think it might be M. I could be wrong on that. I have a feeling it's M, but I could be wrong. I'll have to ask Bill. I'm sure Bill will know.
okay.
Because I should know that stuff. What about, were there things in this game that you didn't get to do, and then you ended up using them in other projects?
Well, there's. I think this is the shotgun.
Looks like a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like a hairdryer.
Yeah.
It's a shotgun.
Yeah, 4 shells. If it's not a shotgun, it's a grenade launcher.
One of my concept artists, Chris Madden, actually designed the alien weapons too. Did a great job. Okay, so somewhere we have someone trapped in the geometry. That's not good. Might not let me advance. We'll see. Oh, Jason, one of our game designers, Jose, went to work for Lucasfilm on Star Wars 1313, and then I believe he's at Blizzard now. And then Charles Anderson, our lead animator, is at Epic.
Working on...
Probably Paragon. I don't
Yeah.
know though. That's just a guess.
I think they have another title in addition to Paragon too. The
And-
name's escaping me.
If you're an animator, oops, you'll notice that the main character movements are very stylized.
They're very exaggerated.
Yes.
The arm sway.
And that's from when the game was a very stylized game, and there were just some things at a certain point you gotta take advantage of.
Should probably skip this cutscene so it doesn't crash.
Yeah, actually, skip
Found
cinematic.
a wrecked
Thank you
A-18
for
and pulled some
reminding me.
spark plugs we might be able to use.
Alright, what am I doing? I'm looking for aircraft parts. Am I still going up? I am. That's having a... It's not actually putting in the LOD0 for the texture. I should say that's the MIPS for the texture.
No, like those trees, like that foliage, like that, again, like with a different shader, that would stand up to most modern day stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
that
actually
would-
think a lot of that is Speed Tree, if I remember correctly. There's some matte paintings. You can see them way off. in
Yeah,
the
you can kind of
distance.
see, I can see elements of Egypt back there almost. You can see-
Egypt?
Yeah, I can see the forebodingness of the background. Now, how large do you paint that? I mean, is that painted at like 2000, or is
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like
I
what's the
think they're-
resolution on that? Like
I
something
think they're
insane.
So
2048s.
what we were
And
talking about
they
earlier,
have
when you
masks
walked out.
on them, so you can
That
put
was
some
3
animated
years ago.
textures.
You
And
never
that's
thought
how
to
we
look
did
me
the
up.
how I did
Try to
the
contact me?
waterfalls.
Oh, so what?
Alright,
It
where
was
am I
some
going?
sort of test to see if I'd
So
follow?
like that waterfall is just an animated texture. Right?
Right.
You're a good man. I never said you weren't.
Okay.
So how did you end up at Airtight?
I'll take that.
I was heading up a studio for Mad Dog Software in Seattle. I had a small art team there, and they canceled the project we were working on. And Matt had approached me saying, "Hey, we'd love for you to come and join the team." So within a few months, we were able to put together the team we had at Microsoft on Crimson Skies.
You all came back together, made Airtight, and then what was the first Airtight game? Was it Dark Void or was it something else?
Dark
And did this set a tone for your future projects that you knew you would go with publishers and stuff, or did it not?
It did. We wanted to be very story heavy, story focused.
And you definitely saw that with Murdered. And Quantum, other people have kind of said was story heavy. I thought that was so gameplay heavy, but there's definitely a story there. It's just told more in that Portal way, where it's like the story is in between the lines. It's not a very... It's not a, like, let's talk a lot. It's developed slowly.
I better skip this.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What?
Something jumped out of one of these
Now,
things.
is it difficult to build a world that's this vertical?
I
It
thought.
just keeps going up and up and up?
Telling me.
Or is that easier because you're stacking instead of going...
It's a little harder because you have to, like, no matter where you go, like you get up here and this starts to break. You can tell that that's just polygons. I think the map paintings hold up, but we should have included like the soupy voidness that we had created, or just given more hills down here or something. Ran out of time on this project.
Can you enjoy a game you worked on? Or is it like you just look at it and go, oh, we should have done this,
Oh, yeah. For a lot of things.
What about when you play other titles? Like, do you see the same thing? You're like, why did they do this? Why didn't they do this? Or, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Is it always so fun?
I have to turn off my art brain when I play games, and I will sightsee, as I call it. So whenever I'm playing something new, I'll spend a lot of time and wander around and just look at the art.
Now, what was the kind of gameplay inspiration? You mentioned Uncharted and Just Cause. Gears had come out a year or two before this too.
Right. So Gears was the big inspiration, and then Jose, our lead game designer, came up with the idea of taking Gears cover-based combat and turning it vertically. And then I remember I still have the picture. Ed Freeze, who is a rock climber, was hanging off the side of his roof with like a 9mm showing you how it could work.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is the best concept art I've ever heard of. That's amazing concept art.
So he had done that. It was like, okay, so that proves out the concept. Unfortunately, one of the things that happened very late in testing was that Capcom USA had decided that, so right now I can't hover up. And so vertical combat works, but as soon as I get hover up, it totally breaks vertical combat. And they made that decision with maybe 3 months before we were supposed to go gold. And it's one of the things that dilutes this experience.
Now, when you say breaks it, what do you mean? It deactivates it? What happens when you hover?
Because I can hover, I can just hover and shoot at people, and I don't need to use cover anymore.
True.
And that's...
So the core concept was sort of like what Inversion did a couple years later, I think like 2012, which was they basically put you in a zero-G environment where you have to
Might shed some light on what happened.
combine movement in three-dimensional space instead of just two-dimensional there.
Correct.
That's interesting. So the way the game is meant to be played is like you're playing it right now, and the addition of the hover makes it too easy.
Correct.
Yeah, and you're pretty bullet spongy in this game too, but...
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it takes like a whole magazine just to take out one of these robots. I find that it doesn't make the shooting as intense. Just like, oh, I'm shooting a lot. I think I got hurt there. So, love the concept of these pillars and the ruins that we have in here. I was very pleased with that work. And this space here, where you actually drop down. Rocks. Okay, fall through the hole.
That's the only way. Down there?
That's a good objective, Mark.
Better not cut out on me.
So what about the jetpack design? Who came up with that?
I want to say Mark Sealander, one of our concept artists. He concepted our creatures and stuff, and then Elijah Everson created a lot of the really cool robots and monsters. I think Kevin did some of the robots also. Now we're getting to a interesting part. So
Ava,
Right,
I've
time for it to
recovered
crash.
copper coil.
yeah, as I've said, there's a lot of kind of Uncharted inspiration. Well, at that point, Uncharted hadn't really come out yet, and as we were working on this, we were. Did I already tell you this? Building the submarine. Kevin was
No.
building a World War II submarine to put on
Oh,
the
yeah,
side of the
U-boat.
wall before.
Right.
Yeah, U-boat. I already
Yeah.
said that, didn't I?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm repeating myself.
So is this the compromise?
Yeah, we're getting to the ship. I did already say that, didn't I?
You're losing it, man.
I am.
You're just losing it.
I think it might be the allergy medicine. I feel a
That'll
little-
do it. That'll do it to you.
Yeah.
The cedar
Found a
allergy
barometer.
medicine.
Might come in handy.
We are
Copy
in
that.
cedar season right
So
now.
what do you think Nicola's doing out here in the middle of nowhere?
I don't know. Research?
This game.
He said there was
look-
something special about this place.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Maybe
It's
working
from
with
2010, so it's not. It's gonna look a little bit dated, but you can definitely see the
Without a
elements.
doubt.
There's definitely elements you can see that
Doesn't matter. He's giving
it
us
was
a
polished at the time, especially when you look at the character model and you look at some of the terrain textures. Like obviously there was a lot of talent on the art side of it.
And I think these terrain textures, and certainly the model, would hold up today. They just need to be updated. Like this
Yeah.
terrain needs a triplanar. That's about it.
And what is a triplanar?
That's when you can project
Journal.
for a different direction. So, like the rocks we have in 5, how there's sand or moss on the top of the rocks.
Yeah.
That's using that type of shader.
Oh, okay.
Got a piston.
Thank goodness.
nothing over here.
Alright, so now we're coming to the Cyclops.
It's not an actual Cyclops,
Looks
it's
like
a
I found a
boat.
path.
Yes,
Okay,
called
the
the
sonar box
Cyclops.
should be in some wreckage up ahead.
There's a game called The Ship, and they
vessel
actually
of
named the
some
ship
sort.
after the Cyclops. So, giant boat.
I think this is part of the hull. So what would our community like to know?
Yeah, guys. Steven worked concept and world building on this, or no, not world building.
World building,
World building concept.
pre-visualization.
Various art aspects of the game. So if you'd like to know anything about Dark Void or Airtight Studios, who also worked on Quantum Conundrum, Murdered Soul Suspect, they had another one that was pretty big, right? Where's those two? Anyway, if you want to know anything about Airtight or Dark Void, please ask. Or if you want to know just about visual design in games, art, Steven's pretty knowledgeable, I would say.
You're gonna have to see
Know a
this to
little
believe.
something.
Yeah, he's a Cyclops.
Well, you're
Alright.
almost there. The sonar box should be on
So,
the end of the mast.
yeah, we ended up with a big ship.
It's just teetering on the side of a rock.
Mm-hmm.
So the gameplay consists of a lot of vertical descents, so ascent and then descent instead of horizontal pathfinding.
Yes, and that, along with when you're jetpacking around, is when it's at its best. Escape. Oh, that's right. So the ship falls over some more. How am I supposed to do this? Okay, that was it.
Oh, great. Ava,
Interesting.
be careful. I got some company.
Almost there.
Now, is it always like this severe animation to move between things? Because that's something that stuck out to me, especially the first time you descend on these, is that it's very animation heavy. It's not like it's not real movement as much as like a quick time move from here to here.
Switch to the shotgun.
Bang. So, was there a target rating for this before they made the enemies robots? Was there ever a concern? Was it ever human enemies?
It was early on, and then we ended up doing these robots. And it was something that Capcom had wanted. It's not what, or I should say Capcom USA had wanted. I think Capcom Japan was expecting something else.
And is your point of contact both? I mean, who was the final? Did
Capcom USA
had the final say, but Japan wanted?
Correct.
That's got to be difficult.
I definitely presented some challenges. Oh, hey, I remember this. Alright, please don't crash. Oh, man.
Now, was it always a third-person shooter? Because one thing that stuck out to me is it actually makes me kind of dizzy when you start ascending because you turn a lot in weird directions.
So it was always third person, but this vertical cover mechanic was what made the game fun and interesting. That, and then once you had the jetpack and you're jetpacking around.
Yeah, jetpack. Now, is it always cover based like this, or does it go back to those aerial sections like there were, or is it mixed between the two?
It's a mix between the two, and there are like a few of the missions. I want to say the ones. Couple of things that one of our
Find some ammo for this thing.
designers developed, Jason Lamberty. Jason had a career of building out convention spaces and just really understood how people should move through an environment, more so than anyone I've met. And he would create some fantastic spaces.
Uh-oh. Is this fun or punishment to go back and look at an old project?
Well, honestly, it's kind of melancholy. I miss my friends. So if you worked on Dark Void, you know who you are. I hope you're doing well.
And Airtight ended up going under after Murdered.
That is correct.
So what drove you to work on Starhawk? Was that right when right after Murdered, or did you leave before things got so?
I left about a year and a half into Murdered. I was the first art director, and then I got a green light. Square was not excited about where we were going with the direction, and so it was
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think he's immune right now. Oh,
There we go.
well, J Combos misses you, Steven.
Jeff!
Sustaining damage.
Jeff was a producer on Dark Void, and he is also the owner of Exile Games, pen and paper game company that created a Hollow Earth Expedition.
What is that?
You don't know what Hex is?
No.
It's Indiana Jones meets Jurassic Park at the center of the Earth.
I could dig that.
Yeah, we actually pitched it as a game. We had pitched it during the time when we were talking to Square, and they had this concept of making a game like Patrick Swayze's Ghost.
Right. You told me that.
Yeah, and we were a little, I am out of ammunition. That's not good.
Instance escape.
Yes. He does escape. There are cool cinematics, but you can't watch him on the PC version.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some issues with it.
Jeff, do you have some insights to share about your experience on Dark Void? I'm sure there are elements and things that we went through that I'm missing.
How does it take a toll on you personally when like Dark Void comes out? You know the constraints, you know all the tough time that went into it, and then the reviews are kind of mixed. How does that hurt? Is you just like, well, that's what it is? Is it just like, all right, well, I'm on to a new thing anyway?
No, I mean, I was disappointed. I know everyone who put so much time and effort into making a success was disappointed. But for us, we were reaffirmed about, yes, if we had stuck to our original decisions and what we had planned to do, I believe we would have had a much better title. And I'm sure that there are people on the team that feel the same way. This is one of my favorite areas and concepts. We had actually spec'd out a whole bunch of gameplay through this area. It never came to fruition.
So what separates this from something like Gears? Is it a publisher thing, and that there's in-house and outsourced publishers? Like what is it? Is it just a million factors that come together over a series of time? Like what makes this have the pieces just not quite right, and everybody sees the pieces, but they didn't get put in the right spaces?
We'll talk about the knight before we get to that. So this is the knight, one of the bosses that you have to deal with, and Jonathan Maskey created this thing. I love to look at this. I think, can't remember if it was Mark Sealander or Chris Matt who did the initial concepts.
Kind of like
There we go.
all right, from Jeff. Dark Void was a tough game to get out, and it certainly has its problems, but I've always been proud of the team and the work we did together, and I wouldn't trade the lessons I learned in the Void for anything.
I completely agree. There is a lot that we had done on this project that we learned, without a doubt. I don't know where I'm at. I guess I'm supposed to go over there. Oh, that's right. The city's up there. The bridge collapsed. That's what we missed in the cinematic, and the knight was down below. Okay.
So, like, what's a lesson you learned?
Establish your pillars. Establishing pillars as to what your game is, and then holding the team and, to a greater extent, the management and the publishers to those pillars that you've all agreed on. Dark Void went through so many iterations that
Feature creep and just watering down.
Changes, watering down. It's not making that experience what it could be. I mean, like when you're doing this, and well, if there were enemies there, this is a really cool moment.
Yeah, and it's different, and it's a complete, especially when you take yourself back a second and realize that you're hanging off the side of a building, and you can kind of take yourself out of it for a minute, but you can also fall. Like you don't have the luxury of just crouching down. You're always somewhat exposed.
Right. And if I remember right, you should be able to. Okay, yeah, you can.
Yeah, this is when I started getting vertigo. When I
Right.
did this in like the first level, it just started really making me dizzy.
So-
But it's cool because it has that depth
I
to
love
it.
that. Yeah,
Because if you jump, you die.
exactly.
You can't just jump down. You're just
No,
you're toast.
you've got to traverse. So that's.
Uh,
it's. Yeah,
It's
that's
from,
really cool.
it's from Amber. I've always wondered how deeply it affects the developers of a game when they work for years on something, and because they either listen to a company or a community, having then released a game that is unfinished, unpolished, many bugs, in essence, giving it no chance to survive. Currently, I'm in the position to see that happen somewhere else, and it's disheartening to watch it.
Oh, it is very disheartening. It's disheartening for the developers. It's disheartening for all involved. You know, Capcom originally had very high hopes for a Dark Void franchise, but unfortunately, it became this combination of these neat ideas and watered down experiences that just ultimately didn't work.
And do you think that's a common thing that happens? People put the cart before the horse. They see the franchise before the game's done.
Sometimes.
Huh? Been left.
I feel like you see that a lot with like you can see things like I don't need to get into specifics, but there's definitely games that you see release and then through content patching or whatever you see various changes implemented or you see a different vision over time through iteration than you do with an initial release.
Right. I still don't have enough to upgrade a weapon.
From Jeff, game development is iterative. It can take time to find the fun. You don't always know how long it'll take, but that time is money, and sometimes you can't get more from a publisher, and you just have to push it out the door.
Yes.
And I guess that's just the sad truth, too. Like, if you work on it for 2 years, it doesn't matter at the end of the day which changes were desired and which changes were implemented and weren't. So does that mean don't listen to the publisher and risk getting your project canceled?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's just, you definitely have to come to a meeting of the minds. Like in the case of Dark Void, because we were doing so many demos, it really ate into our production time. And so our understanding was we would have the time to make the game what we wanted it to be. And that turned out not to be the case. Oh, I'm punching, thank you.
Which is my favorite part of the game, is that you just screw the cover, you just go up and grab it.
Right.
But I feel like that's not this game, though. Like, that feature doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
In a vertical shooter, when would you ever be close enough to someone to be able to touch them? Like, the idea of meleeing someone from a vertical standpoint doesn't make sense. Like, you should be able to push or pull them, but to actually stand up and hit them doesn't fit with the
I
narrative.
think you can actually pull them off the ledge, as I remember.
That's cool. That, you see, that's what I would think would make sense.
Yeah.
But then, so, why do sections like this exist? Is this just the nature of, hey, it is cover-based and we can do it horizontal too? Or is it also has that vertical element where you can jump up a building?
Ask that question again?
From a design perspective, we're in a section right now where it's pretty much a horizontal.
Right.
Was that always that way? Was that just, well, we can do it, so let's try it out? Or
Well, it was we want to work in a combination of both.
Okay.
At that time, cover base was the thing after the success of Gears. And so we wanted to do cover base plus the vertical cover.
This is from Jeff. This leads to one of the key lessons I learned. At the end of the day, what was on screen mattered the most. So instead of arguing about whether or not something would be fun, get it on screen as quickly as possible and then evaluate it.
I agree.
So does that just come with prototyping and gray boxing?
Yes.
Having the ability to sit there and before all the polish is on it, just to say, okay, here's our rig, and here's a gun, and here's a vertical climb, and here's shooting. Is this good enough?
Correct.
Oh, this is a beautiful scene right here. I like this. See, again, like most of this holds up pretty solid. Like the lighting, the environment destruction. That's cool. And the enemies can do it too. Oh, okay.
Oh no! Don't freeze up on me.
Controller. It's probably dead. Yeah. Should probably put some batteries in it.
So it's kind of fun to see all this again.
Yeah, is it like...
Jeff, what do you think? You getting a kick out of this? When's the last time you looked at Dark Void?
Is it pretty common for you? Because I know you said you never even played the final Murdered until a couple months ago, right?
Right. Well, I was only involved for like the first 9 months of the project. The year it finally went. Murdered went through so many iterations. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah. And you said you did some art guidance on Quantum, or?
No, I didn't have any involvement in Quantum. My suggestion to Kim was that the Fluffy be called Plush.
Plush Zone.
The Plush Zone.
So, I think they were all wise. It was like fluffy, heavy,
right.
freezy, and slow. Maybe it's slow. Fluffy, heavy, slow, and I forgot what the fourth one was.
Yeah, I actually had no involvement in Quantum.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You should check that one
That's
out.
cool.
That's really fun. That's actually how I found out about it.
I actually played a little bit at PAX
This.
when it came out.
11?
Yeah. Actually, this might be one of my spaces.
Are you an Unreal expert? Pretty good?
Pretty
So?
good. I was back in the day on this project. I haven't used Unreal since, well, actually I have it at home and I play with it, but I actually don't do game development with it. And I should.
Yeah, Unreal 4 is pretty powerful.
Yes.
And see, it looks more user-friendly than Unreal 3 and 2. But you never know, I guess.
Pop your head out.
Now, are there any elements of this area that you would say like signature you, stuff that you like see, like you like enclosed spaces or
Big stone pillars, like this blocky angled shape. This is definitely in my direction. The walls, the way this is put together. Yeah, this is.
kind of reminds me of the concept art drawing?
I used to have a lot of the Dark Void. That guy's tough. Concept art up on my website, but it's so old. You want to keep it contemporary.
Jeff says it makes my trigger finger itch. I used to play this the build first thing every day, so I was always up to speed on changes. I built up a lot of muscle memory playing the game and can still feel it to this day.
All right, Jeff.
We are running low on time.
All right, what time is it?
It's almost 5:30.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, community, we're going to take this show and we're going to go a little longer.
Journal.
All right. You having a good time?
I am. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
it's getting to the fun part now, and I want to get the jetpack.
Awesome. But we are Kingdom. We are Kingdom Games, located in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
Our recent title launch was 5 Guardians of David, an isometric action RPG. If you've played Diablo or Torchlight, you're in our wheelhouse. You know what to expect. Loot, gear, enemies, fun stuff. Set 3,000 years in the past. And I think you do see some similar pillar work. I'm definitely noticing a style here that looks familiar. So now I believe
Not
you.
in our game.
Yeah.
I made one pillar 10 years ago, and I just used it over and over.
I've definitely seen in your Egypt concepts. I've noticed your pillar work again. Looks similar. I don't know. Am I wrong, Amber? Yeah. Amber likes it having fun.
I am at
I'm fascinated to see the.
We're going to get to the actual jetpack after this.
Do you play a lot? I mean, obviously with a accelerated development or OT and stuff, like actually sitting down to play becomes almost a chore at points.
I am a gamer. Playing what you're working on is a chore.
Yeah.
That's for sure, because it is work.
Yeah, it's not, hey, I'm gonna sit around this corner and shoot this guy. It's, why is that VFX not working? Why is that sound not triggering? Etc.
Is this, oh my gosh, now.
On casual, too.
I know.
Yeah, this game is really bullet spongy. It really wants headshots, and it also can take a fair amount of damage. That's why I just go around punching people. Oh, that's a big dude.
Right, but that big dude you can't punch. It's supposed to be like blowing off his armor. Not really seeing him.
Now, is there anything that got cut to the wayside that you're like, man, that would have been amazing?
The story, a lot of this work was rushed and we had to do it in overtime. It looks fantastic. And but story-wise, we had so much more in experience. Big dude.
Very cinematic. Just lots of exposition.
Yes.
What is the resulting story? Like, what is in the game?
I forgot about that. See all that work there?
Yes.
That is from a artist, Brian Snowdy, that I brought in, and he didn't know how to sculpt, but he could paint in black and white and make it look like 3D relief.
Wow.
So I had him do all these gorgeous black and white paintings, and then we actually converted them into normal maps.
And what's a normal map? That's just a flat texture?
Yeah, but it. Uh-oh. So I've made my way into the monolith. And,
Wow.
I got to climb all that. Yeah, I actually I did a concept piece for this. I think that still might be in there on my website. And this is where we run into the. Find a way to the top of the monolith. Where are these guys? These are like the little junior watcher guys.
Nice.
Can I climb up that? Ah! Oh, I got it. That's good enough. Just go up the ramp. Okay, here they are.
Nice animations.
Yes.
Very nice.
Whoa!
Beautiful.
All right.
Kind of God of War like.
I guess I could just bash him over the head with it.
Yeah. Forgot about those. That was cool. Oh, that's not good.
He looks dangerous.
That's one of the knights. Hopefully he doesn't wake up.
He's gonna wake up.
Of course he's going to wake up. There's a couple of knights. And I love the statue work. Where are we going here?
How long does it take to make a statue like that? Days?
Nowadays it takes a couple days.
Just to have it, that one statue in there,
Yeah.
that used once, just 3 or 4 days of work, just... That's tough. How do you know that it's going to look good at the end of the day, or is it just a risk you take? Be like, yep, spend a week making a statue.
Well, when you're working in high res and you're sculpting it, it's you can actually see it as it's developed. What? Oh, seriously?
Go punch it.
Okay, what do you do when you're out of ammunition?
Sarpa? Does that mean anything?
Oh, that's what they were called. Sarpas.
The little things?
Yeah.
Ew.
Jeff, you remember this much better than I do.
I can't punch it. There you go. Yeah,
There we go.
that's awesome. That was awesome. Who did the animation work? They deserve a medal.
Charles.
That's awesome. Really well done. That is hilarious.
We have a new fan, Charles. I like this low-level fog. I don't remember that. Oh my gosh, how many of these stupid things are there?
A lot. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Oops, wrong button. Yeah, so I'm gonna say, I think it was Brad who did the lighting in here, but this looks really sweet.
Yeah, that's really well done.
I mean, even for like 6-7 years gone, that's nice.
That's pretty powerful work.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So as you keep ascending the monolith,
Yes. Find a way to the top.
what is at the top? Is that surprise? Jetpack.
Well, I want to get the whole jetpack, and then fly around, because that's really the meat of the game. I think one of the places where we could have done a better job is getting you to the flying sooner.
Ava! Gotta find a way out.
Now, is it weird to come home and be like, oh, so what'd you do today, honey? It's like, well, I was killing Sarpa and, modeling alien slug robots and sculpting a sculpture of giant cobra. Like, is that...
Well, it wasn't me doing any of that.
But does that get strange to be like, what'd you do at work today? It's just like all this weird, like, lore and crazy fiction.
It's what I love. I have a very powerful inner child. So this is what we're doing.
Amber's a big fan of the art in this game. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely an immersive
Okay, pull
style.
him over.
Yes!
Yes!
That's awesome.
That was Charles. All
Did.
right, so we go to the. Whoa!
Yeah,
Where
you
did
gotta
you
come
come
down.
from? If I remember right, I think I can. There might even be an achievement, like for the number of dudes you throw off ledges.
Yeah, this was before Capcom used Steam achievements, so
Dave, you copy?
you don't get those either. Bummer.
Just going all the way to the top. And there's a knight.
Shapeshifter, sons of
And
bitches.
Tavi,
Nobody listen.
my buddy.
Tavi, you're great.
This
Now
fight
it's great,
being
Tavi.
hard.
Try to take
And then we have these drop ships. Defeat the knights. Oh, of course there's more than one.
So Amber wants to know, what are you working on lately, Steven? Here.
Here,
Yeah, what's going on?
so we're working on 5 and where we're going to go next with that. So doing a lot of concept of Egypt.
And various other things.
Yes, actually, we updated the UI, and I've been doing a huge amount of optimization on the game. So we're doubling our frame rate.
Yes! It's really, really good.
Yes, so. Run around and get all these little power pellets. Whoa!
Now, did you just concept or did you model this too?
No, just concept. Whoa!
Do you ever get into arguments with the level designer when you're when you do concept? You're just like, no, it's not supposed to look like that. Like, what are you doing?
All right, I'm out of ammunition, so. Yeah, definitely. There are things that I think should have been done differently, but. didn't get any ammunition from that guy, so that's not good.
Jeff says go damage the knight and then punch him.
Damage the knight, then punch him. Okay.
So you can kill him with a punch if you damage him enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just punch him.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'm gonna go punch him right now. You're casual.
I'm gonna go punch him.
There you go. Oh, uh-oh.
Oh! Oh, right!
It's a quick time event.
It is.
Oh, it got him more. That's awesome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh. That was cool.
That was awesome. Who's left? Got one more.
Down.
It is so gratifying to punch those robots.
She's a jetpack dude.
Yes. Skip cinematic. How we doing on time?
It's like 5:30-ish.
All right. 30 more minutes? 90-minute show?
Yeah, if you want.
You told me like these shows are always best when they're like 15 minutes.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. I said the opposite of that.
Did you?
Yeah, YouTube is good to do like 3 minutes or less.
Okay.
Unless it's a tutorial or something. That's cool. Twitch is actually better to go like 6 hours.
Oh, can I upgrade my backpack? 9,700.
It's over 9,000.
Upgrade my disintegrator. I'll do that. Explode at larger radius. Yeah. Alright, I now have upgraded guns. And we gotta skip the cinematic again.
I don't like
Alright, here we go.
I tell you, it's not a good idea.
What about
Ooh.
aim?
Yes.
Gotta try.
See, Amber knows.
Okay,
Twitch long, YouTube short.
come and go through an opening in the canyon floor.
Twitch.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Whoa.
There you go. Come on, dude. I love that animation too, where he's like Spider-Man when he first learns his stupid
yeah.
things.
The brakes in your
Okay,
right
so
hand.
Y is boost. What the heck is A? Oh,
Is.
hover. X
Oh
to
yeah.
brake.
There we go.
You need guns yet? Or no, just the jetpack? Oh yeah, there you
Yes.
go.
I need to go faster.
Okay, so there's some map paintings out there. I think this might be my sky too. I'm
And you can
not
go
sure.
pretty far instead.
Remember.
Oh wow. Did you paint that, or is that just a picture?
No, I painted it.
You painted that?
Yeah. From
That's not a
pictures.
picture of some clouds. That you painted that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, but you use a picture to
I,
paint it.
yeah, but I would have just thought that you just used a picture. Wow.
Did it work?
It's
Okay.
too good.
Yeah.
So I think,
I think I
whoa,
swallowed a
I'm
bug.
like so dizzy now.
Yeah, Amber likes this
We
guy.
need to take out the communications tower.
So
the
this
workers
is
can't
when
monitor
the
our
game
signal.
really starts to get interesting. There's a
You and
lot
the guns on
here.
your
So
back.
this is protecting. What do we need to do? I don't know. We need to turn that thing off. So I got to go shoot some stuff.
So this was Doug Magruder did the animation for this.
Yes. Oh, I thought it was Charles. Was it Doug?
One down,
Or
two to
Jeff.
go.
It was Doug on the flight stuff.
Okay. My bad. Good job, Doug.
This thing's got some firepower.
And can you land, or you're in flight mode, so you can't?
Oh, I think I fly inverted, and it's either not inverted or it is inverted or something.
Hit
I'm not
pause.
sure.
And then options, controls. Yeah, invert Y in air on. Just turn it on. Easy.
All right. Okay, nope.
It's really good.
It's the other way.
Which way do you want it, Steven?
I,
You got it the right way.
it up the right way. I just haven't flown in a long time. Okay.
Charles did most of the ground stuff.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
I really like this. This is great. I love the openness of this.
Right, well, so that's something that I learned. Most games make it feel like a bathtub,
Yeah.
and it drives me nuts. So I'm like, look, at a certain point, yes, we're going to turn the player around, and if they want to explore, let them go out there and explore. But let's not contain them in there. Shooting this thing.
Yeah, that's one big thing with the original Far Cry. That's where that whole aspect was. It's like, yeah, here's where you can go. You can go down this narrow path, but you can also just jump off this cliff. Just
Right.
start walking around, see what you can do.
And as I remember, it was a bit of a fight, too, because everyone's so used to just making, the bathtub. But,
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty nice.
It's like a dream.
It's very cool.
this flight model is awesome. Really?
That's dangerous.
Nuh-uh. I'm gonna take that gun out.
Where is it? I'm getting all turned around here.
I can see the publisher or whoever just saying, yeah, just have them go fly through some obstacles for like 2 minutes and then.
Whoever's flying overhead, do you
Oh,
read?
this space actually is pretty cool. And this is
Yeah,
one
it's
of the
just-
funner missions in the game.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
I mean, it's great to have that openness, and you don't fly so fast, so you're just traversing the environment.
Right. And you actually, if you want to feel speed, you have to get down on the deck. Because when you're down here, that's when it really starts to feel fast.
Tabby, how do I land this thing?
You have to hover. Otherwise, you'll kill yourself.
I love that water shit. Alright, so this is what breaks all the cover in the game.
Someone's coming. I gotta go.
That's great.
Right.
Yeah, the whole game should have just been this. This is cool. And then integrate the mechanics back.
So it's
into
probably
it.
about 2 hours to get to this point. And it really should have been.
That's too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially when you start with this, like this is the opening of the game is you have the jetpack.
Right. And that was something that Capcom wanted.
You start with it and then have to regain.
Right, and then they take it away. It's kind of the Gears of War approach.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that do a similar mechanic, but it's
Yeah.
it's like
I would rather have tightened up the story and
no, Jeff, we have not talked about voiceover.
oh yeah, Nolan North.
You heard of Nolan North?
So this is actually one of the things that really made me angry because there was so much parallel between what we were doing and what was in Uncharted,
Yeah.
and then we got Nolan North to do the voice, and I was like, this is an awful decision, don't do this. I was so mad because the other choice was Bruce Woodward. I think that's his name, the guy who plays Captain Pike in the Star Trek movies.
Not a Star Trek guy.
Okay.
I'll have to talk
Alright,
to my
It's
friend.
got a deeper voice. I think it's Bruce Woodward. Jeff, help me out there. So yeah, we have Nolan North, and then the music's actually really good. It's Bear McCready who did the music, and that was something that Capcom did for us. So that was cool. And yes, Nolan North is great to work with, without a doubt. He's really good. But when you have your quintessential generic 1930s pulp adventure guy, yeah.
Could have called it Uncharted Voice.
Uncharted voice. I'm sure some people think of it as that.
So did Uncharted come out like halfway through development?
Yes.
Oh my. So what do you do then? You just
Well,
change the U-boat.
right. I think we should have changed the character more. Oh. That's my personal feeling. I would have done things a little bit differently, and one of those things would have been to, I could have sworn these doors open. Maybe I
You got an enemy.
Ooh. Where is he?
Nolan was already on board when I started working on Dark Void. At the time he was signed, no one knew how big he was going to get to be, but we stuck with him anyway.
No, we knew. It was Nathan Drake, so it was
Well,
like, let's not use him.
I don't know if you know this, but he's kind of like a really well-known voice actor. Like Borderlands, Deadpool.
Oh yeah, no, he's done a ton of stuff where he's not recognizable. He's just so recognizable here. It's like, really?
He's also really good. He's just one of those voice actors. Like, yeah, you get him. He's a get.
We couldn't
That looked like a
push buttons. We had to smash consoles, and then we ended up pushing a lot of buttons, so now every time you got to smash it.
Lie down and get inside.
Don't
Head
know
up
what.
to the central control panel.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to punch you. I like that a lot.
don't mess with me, dude.
See, I would never run out of ammo in this game, so I just don't even. I just go hit people.
Punch him all the
Yeah, I
time?
just punch him.
Ow!
Nice. Ragdolls. That's good. That's very good. But I think stuff like that's really important, is to have it where you can crash and that actually hurts you. Like I think that's something that Magicka and this game Helldivers, both by the same devs, Arrowhead, like
Mhm.
that's something that's really big with them. It's like friendly fire is always on, and you can hurt your teammates. So like when you're casting a spell or you're shooting a gun, you have to actually pay attention to where you aim, because you can kill someone. If you call in a drop ship, it could drop on top of you and kill you. So I think something really cool about this is that it's like you bang into the wall, let's go the other way, just
Ouch.
land like that, and just face palm. It's awesome.
Am I supposed to fly all the way up there?
Yeah, why not? You have a jetpack.
There we go. Because there's dudes.
Maybe.
This doesn't get old. So yes, there are some fun elements in this game, and someone should actually use them in a new cover-based shooter.
Closest thing I can see, if you want to go super serious, is Version, which you ever play it?
I haven't, but I was going to say super serious is, I'd rather do fun.
Yeah.
Rocketeer.
They went super serious with like a serious kind of depressing story, but similar concept, like aliens, humans, and what they did is they raised the ground to the air. So there are a lot of zero-G modes where you'd have to find pieces of debris to hide behind and jump between piece of debris to piece of debris and then move forward. And it was all like a similar element of you're in the air, so you need to cover yourself. You can't just duck down. It's not quite that simple. Ava was voiced by Polly Walker, who was on Rome and Caprica. She was super nice, but never done a game. We had to explain a lot of the story and gameplay to her during the voice recording, but she totally dug it. Got it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Smash another console. Okay, escape from the generator core.
Get out of there! It's gonna blow!
Have to escape before
So
this
you want to
thing
go upwards.
blows up.
No idea where you're going.
Really?
Well, maybe you do. I don't know. That looks like death to me. Maybe not. Stand corrected. You seem to be
Okay.
really friendly with producers. Why is that? Are arts and producers always kind of tight, or
Whoa!
Look out!
I don't know about that.
Bogey!
Oh, there they are. These UFOs were... Oh, man, I can jack these things. Okay, so here's another cool thing about this game. This is awesome.
this is very Just Cause. Oh my.
too. I forgot. Left B looks for the nearest enemy. Ah!
Here's where I get the vertigo.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's definitely a huge sense of depth to a game. More so than most flying games. You fly a ship, you just kind of fly it, but this is...
Did I hit B? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Hold B. Oh, I see. You gotta...
No. Right. No. Jump.
I think the controller died.
Hey.
Yeah, the controller died.
Oh.
It's giving me keyboard prompts.
It's like, what the heck? What is with this controller?
The batteries are probably dying. I should change them, but... I'm cheap, so I'm like waiting until they can't turn
So
on because it's working.
Carjacking the UFO is so
This
cool.
good.
I totally forgot about that. Okay, so you hold B, but then you gotta stay away from the gun. And then you gotta hurry up before he shoots me again. There we go. Ow. Oh, I hit the wrong button.
The guys working on this ever get motion sickness. The entire game is crazy. Take his gun. Uh-oh.
Pop him in the head. Throw him out. And woohoo! I got me a UFO.
Gyroscopic UFO.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
So, Mark Sealander designed all our tech. We've got like a cool boss battle coming up here in a minute. Where's that thing? There it is.
UFO hijack was one of the universally liked features. It was always highly ranked during playtests. Yep. I can see why. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's a cool animation too.
Nice flying. Take out that second generator and we should be good.
We got more dudes.
Oh.
Wait, I lose my...
Must have reset your player model during the...
Destroy the shield.
Alright, now this is some crazy stuff. So you fly onto platforms, you can actually land on platforms, shoot a bunch of people and fly away.
That's getting worried.
So I'm going to assume that people just loved this part of the game.
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
just, it took too long to get here.
Yeah, this is where the game really starts to show those great moments of what it should have been.
Got it.
The journal.
It's telling the story.
Well, this is the one I remember. Oh, now I gotta fly in the top.
Hey, that worked. This time, you're gonna go in through the top.
Whoa!
Biggest problem with the hijack was the length of time it took. We had to put the UFO on autopilot so it wouldn't smash into a cliff while you fought over it. This used to happen for a while. You could even die if it happened if the UFO was at low health. Unsurprisingly, people didn't think that was fun. I wonder why. Oh my.
Wrong button. Where are we? Woo! There we go. Is that it? Destroy the shield generator. Oh, of course
Down
it's
you
all
go.
the way down at the bottom.
You gotta, this is the whole mechanic you're talking about.
Yeah.
Counter-based shooter from this one makes me really dizzy.
I love this. So it's
I've never
moments
been made
like
dizzy by a
this
game, but this one makes me dizzy.
where
It's crazy.
you're just like, this game is awesome.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, wrong button. And then you have, you know, a little bit of this traversal puzzle where you have to, yeah.
What did the original character model look like when it was stylized?
I think I have a picture of it. It looked more like, imagine this guy done by Pixar.
I'll take that.
Okay, so like kind of blocky colors for the skin. And like,
Oh yeah. And then,
Because like this animation right here is just like really flamboyant and strange.
oh yeah.
But like I could see that working on a, because he's
On
a buff
very
dude. Like,
stylized game. Yeah.
you know, what's he weigh? Like 200 pounds, and he's just like elegantly flipping with his pinky. You know?
Where is that guy? Okay. What do I need to do? Okay, I'm going this way. Alright, someone's shooting at me.
You're getting close to time, Steven.
Am I? Alright,
think
so
so.
I'm kind of like, this is, so now that we have the jetpack, I don't like the hover up, but the, all this other stuff is just fantastic. This is...
Yeah, I'm really digging this. This is really cool. Like, you should have started the game here. So, you know, if I ruled the world, you would just start on this part. This is pretty cool.
I think we probably would have got here in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Just the openness of flying, the UFO hijack, you know, this stuff. Like, this is the core game to me. Like, all the, you could mix in some of the other stuff, but I feel like this is what, like, that other stuff is like Gears or Uncharted. This is you. This is Dark Void.
Right.
Like, even just like this platforming where you just get to jump and stuff is so cool. Like, I'm a huge 3D platformer fan, so it's like,
There you
nice
are.
little traversal.
I'm going to throw you off the ledge.
Yep.
Is this where I need to go? Okay, and then here's another panel to smash. Okay, escape the generator. Woohoo! You just drop out, and then hit the jetpack.
All right, you're getting the Archon now.
Archon, yeah.
The Archon.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite designs. Hopefully it won't freeze up.
What is
This
that?
is from Mark Sealander, and then Elijah created the model, and then Doug animated it. And
It's like a lizard cockroach.
oh, it is. It's just awesome. Man, there's some cool stuff in this game.
As we see the Archon and we come to a close in the next 5 to 10 minutes, if you have any last questions for Steven or Jeff, formerly of Airtight Games, they're now defunct, or they...
They are defunct,
They're
but
gone.
Jeff is owner-operator of Exile Games and
Exile.
Hollow Earth Expedition.
also known as Hex.
Hex. Destroy the Archon.
This game is Dark Void, throwback to 2010 from Airtight Games. You can pick it up on Steam or on 360. If you go to GameStop, you should be able to find it.
Why my jetpack won't turn
Yeah.
off?
Yeah. Look at that model. That is so cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? I have to... Oh, my gosh. I don't have any...
Yeah, better kill it.
That's not good.
You know what it really looks like is Komodo dragon. That's what it looks like. Uh-oh. We are in Austin, Texas. We are Kingdom Games, the creators of 5 Guardians of David.
I don't have any ammo.
You'll survive. You can find the game we're currently working on Steam. 5 Guardians of David by Kingdom Games. It is not quite same style at all, but it's a cool action RPG you might want to check out.
Alright, I'm not going to be able to defeat this thing unless I pick up some ammo. There
Do
we
it.
go.
This isn't good.
So the B button is supposed to be, there we go.
We'll holler out to Oklahoma.
Yes.
It's should be nice weather right now. Uh-oh. Punch it.
Yeah, actually you do. It's awesome. There it is. I gotta take out this other.
This seems like a Capcom call. Be like, yeah, shoot the eyeball, shoot the pieces.
Alright, now there we go.
Uh-oh.
Rip that thing off. So I actually have a promotional piece for this, and that's on the
Keep hitting the legs.
on my website. That's actually using Doug's animation. He shoots
Uh-oh.
between your legs.
Oh my. That's scary.
No!
Uh-oh.
Shook me off. What? Now I gotta go and do this again? Come on. And I have no ammo.
So it's low health wounds though. Wow. Whoever designed this, awesome job. Little robot monster. Robot motor dragon.
Yeah. Come on. I'm so close on this thing. Don't
He's on fire. Yeah, you got it.
get over here to the front.
B. Yeah.
Come on, break it. Break it, don't take me off. Ah!
Come on.
Oh, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm out of ammo.
Throw
again.
grenades at it. Boom.
A present for you.
Take that, sucker. There you go.
Uh-oh.
You're stuck. You were
Oh.
not supposed to do that. You are stuck.
Oh no.
Welcome to collision detection. Oh, here you
Oh,
go.
now I'm doing something on the tail. What? I don't remember the tail thing, but that's pretty cool.
I,
Alright, I can't beat the boss because I'm out of ammo.
where are your designers?
And I died.
You can shoot him with the jetpack, though.
Alright, community, I think that's enough for today.
It is. Thanks for watching and hanging out. Thanks to Jeff and Amber and everybody else that hung out and
Yes.
asked questions and gave us some insight.
This is Dark Void. This shipped January
2010.
2010. From Airtight Games on Capcom, and it's playable on the PS3, the Xbox 360, and PC. Though I'd recommend avoiding the PC one
The
because
PC
of all
version
the
has some
crashes.
problems, yeah.
Yes, and my compliments to the team. I miss you all. This game shipped because of your relentless tenacity to get this thing out the door, and we've able to see some of the negatives, and now we're experiencing a lot of the positives of what made this game so cool.
Yep, I'm gonna go back and play it now. I'm probably gonna steal this save so I can start here.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
This is definitely where it's fun.
Alright, thanks everyone for watching. We are live from the Kingdom Games studio. You can always find more info about us at kingdomgames.com and all of our other social media sites, which are Kingdom Games ATX.
Yes.
We will be back next week at 4:30 Texas Central Time, 5:30 Eastern Time, with Steven, who's going to be doing his Wolf and the Lion show, doing some concept art, teaching you Photoshop tips and tutorials.
Yes.
So make sure to tune in for that.
So you get me 2 weeks in a row.
Who better?
Oh.
All right, everybody, have a great week. We will be back next week.